If one IP has defined my 2020, it's been Mass Effect. And it's probably going to be rather integral to me and my channel come 2021 too. If you were to pull one aspect from the hit video game franchise as its defining characteristic, it's choice. How the player guides Commander Shepard through a branching narrative and across a journey that increasingly feels like yours and yours alone. Now, there's a lot else to love about the franchise, its in-depth sci-fi lore, the characters, or the retro synth OST. However, all those can, in theory, translate to the medium of anime fairly well. A choice-driven narrative, however, well, that's a tricky one, and yet Production IG didn't back away from the challenge, and their solution is, well, I'd be lying if I said Mass Effect Paragon Lost is a good anime. It's visually rough and often off-reference from the source material. It has a cliché sense of military machismo. There's a streak of misogyny running through it. That's not entirely the fault of one of its voice actors. It's a bad anime, but I do think it's an interesting experiment. At least as someone who has spent much of this year thinking about what defines Mass Effect. So, James Vega, the muscle-headed himbo of Mass Effect 3, voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr., is the star of this prequel to the trilogy's finale. In the game, he's kind of following in Shepard's footsteps. A talented soldier whose career faced an early tragedy that has come to define him. The weight of his choices leads him to questioning whether he's better off as a capable tool in the box of a skilled leader like Shepard, or if one day he too should step into such a role. Paragon Lost focuses on that failed mission. We already know its tragic outcomes, yet the matter of choice still plays a central theme. Toward the end of the film, Vega is presented with one of the franchise's patented, impossible choices. To save a crashing ship filled with civilians, or his Asari love interest, Treya, and invaluable scientific data she possesses. Seemingly about to choose, saving the civilians and letting the woman he loves and the data in her possession burn up in the atmosphere. This feels like one of the good guy choices from the game's Paragon vs. Renegade morality system. Trouble is, the film is called Paragon Lost, so right as we think the denouement is about to begin, it cuts before we know exactly what Vega chooses. It's then we get the true ending, where Vega opts for the Renegade route, saving Treya and the data, a decision that haunts him into the events of Mass Effect 3. So, does it work? Kind of? Through much of the film, the notion of choice is harped on, and if they had cut it at what appeared to be the ending initially, I think just about everything in this film would fall flat. Don't get me wrong, like I said, it's bad, but at least it's kind of interesting this way. It tries to tackle the difficult prospect of adapting an interactive media to a passive one. This solution isn't groundbreaking. I can at least say they tried though. And what's left is me empathizing with a character I had already grown to enjoy my last time through the game, even more now. In part because Freddie Prinze Jr. does his damnedest to carry a bad script in an otherwise mediocre dub. It would be really easy for this to fail in the familiar ways game adaptations do, to stay confined within the restriction of working with another company's active IP and take no risks, ending up terribly boring, or to be so tied to the core lore of the source material that you become an integral piece of viewing to understand the full story, thus complicating the barrier to entry. Paragon Lost does neither. It tries to remedy an age-old problem and at the very least gets us thinking about better solutions. Hello new people. If the notion of someone talking more personally about video games and anime and all that stuff is appealing to you, I would suggest you go check out the Essentials playlist on my channel. You could watch my Rilakuma video where I do a sort of MTV's Room Raiders mashup while discussing set design. Or you could watch the video I have defending Akunohana and its rotoscoped visuals that I think are genuinely quite gorgeous. And if you watch some of those videos and think, well, this person's pretty good, I think I want to support them further, you can do that over on my Patreon. There are a couple different tiers there, both of which give you levels of access to bonus material. So for all those that will and already do, I say thank you very, very much.